Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that your entire city is surrounded. No safe road out, no powerful army waiting to rescue you. And beyond the horizon, an enormous coalition is marching toward your home. This was not a legend, this was Madinah, and the believers inside it were about to face one of the greatest tests of their faith, courage and unity. But before we enter this extraordinary story, if you love stories that bring Islamic history to life, welcome to Ummah Stories, where every episode takes you back through the pages of history and reminds us of the people, sacrifices, trials, and lessons that shaped the Ummah. Subscribe to Ummah Stories and turn on notifications, because you never know what story we will uncover next. And now, let us step into Madinah. The year was around the 5th year after the migration. Madinah had become a home for the Muslims, but peace did not mean danger had disappeared. Opposition against the growing Muslim community continued. Then, a powerful coalition began to form. Different groups, different interests, different reasons, but one common goal. They wanted to crush the Muslims of Madinah. Their forces gathered, their numbers grew, and eventually, a huge army began moving toward Madinah. News reached the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The situation was serious. The Muslims did not have an enormous army. They could not simply march out and fight such a large coalition on equal terms. Something had to be done. The Prophet, peace be upon him, gathered his companions and consulted them. Among those present was a companion who had traveled from distant lands before finding Islam. His name was Salman Al-Farisi. Salman suggested an idea unfamiliar to the Arabs of that time. Dig a trench around the exposed side of Madinah. It was a simple idea, but it could completely change the battle. If the enemy reached the trench, their cavalry would struggle to cross it. The Muslims would gain a defensive barrier. The Prophet, peace be upon him, accepted the strategy, and suddenly, the peaceful surroundings of Madinah became a massive construction site. The Muslims began digging. Everyone participated. The Prophet, peace be upon him, himself worked alongside his companions. The work was exhausting. The ground was difficult. Food was scarce. But they continued. Day after day, the trench grew. And somewhere beyond Madinah, the coalition was getting closer. The Muslims knew what was coming. They did not know exactly how the confrontation would unfold. But they knew one thing: Madinah had to survive. And this is where our story truly begins. Because when the enemy finally arrived, they expected to see a city they could simply attack. Instead, they saw something they had never expected: a trench. And behind it stood a community determined not to surrender. The greatest test of Madinah was about to begin. The coalition finally reached Madinah. They had traveled with confidence. They expected confrontation. They expected to overwhelm the Muslims with their numbers. But then they stopped. Before them was something completely unexpected. A deep trench stretched across the vulnerable approach to the city. The horses could not simply charge across it.
Are you looking for amazing stories, history, and inspiring Islamic content? Then you're in the right place. Subscribe to Ummah Stories and join our growing community. New videos are coming, so don't miss out. Subscribe